Hi everyone, happy Sunday evening. Thanks so much for joining me in my kitchen tonight for yet another delicious and healthy recipe on Cook With Me TV. So let me know if you are actually cooking with me tonight. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know what that's looking like. For those of you who are not cooking, maybe you're just sitting back, relaxing and watching, or maybe you're joining in for the first time. This is a live cooking class. So I post ingredients ahead of time for you to grab at the grocery store at your trip over the weekend. Give yourself some time to settle in over the weekend and actually cook along with me on Sunday evening. I do this every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Central, so be on the lookout for new recipes to try. I try to keep them very balanced and healthy, but always delicious. So tonight what we're doing is we're making a chocolate poblano chili. I know those ingredients sound strange, but basically this is a really delicious chili that has some subtle flavors of smoky poblano peppers, as well as a little bit of chocolate, just to add some depth of flavor. Do you have any secret chili ingredients that you like to add into your chili? I feel like chili is a big thing for a lot of people, and they have kind of a special recipe or maybe secret ingredient that they like to use to spice things up. So let me know what that looks like for you. Hey guys, thanks for joining in. Hey Jean, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hey Josh, good to see you. Thanks for joining. So one little secret ingredient that I like to add sometimes to my chili is coffee. Has anybody ever done that before? When you add coffee and chocolate to your chili, it just gives it a little bit more of a bold flavor. It adds a little tiny bit of, I want to use the word bitterness, which might throw people off, but it's kind of what it adds. It also gives it sort of like a deep umami kind of flavor. So if you've never done that before, I recommend trying it. I'm not actually going to be adding it into mine tonight, but we are going to be adding in the chocolate tonight, along with poblano peppers, which if you're not familiar with poblanos, this is what they look like. Big old green peppers. Yay! Jane and Drew are cooking with me tonight. I'm so excited. So go ahead and get your oven preheated to 375 before I ramble on about poblano peppers. Especially if you are using the Bob's Red Mill cornbread mix, because you can't have chili without cornbread, right? And so this requires that you preheat your oven to 375. This is going to be the first thing that we do. So we're going to mix together all of these ingredients, get this into the oven, and let it cook while we make the chili. So we'll talk more about poblano peppers and the chili in general later. Let's go ahead and get the cornbread mix started. So this is just sort of a shortcut that I like to use sometimes in the kitchen. You can also just buy any kind of cornbread mix that you see at the grocery store, or you can do it from scratch and just use cornmeal, but then you have to throw in a lot of other ingredients, right? Like your flour, your baking powder or baking soda, egg, oil, milk or water. So this has most of those things in it. So it's got cornmeal, it's got some starches in here, a couple of different flours. There is a little bit of sugar in here, but it's not a ton. If you actually look at the total sugar amount on here, it's only 4 grams for the mix, so not a big deal. Baking soda, cornstarch, sea salt, and there is some xanthan gum in here. If you're worried about any other additives or preservatives, you don't have to use this. You can make it from scratch, but I will say this is a pretty good product. It's a pretty high quality cornbread product to make if you don't want to add all of those additional ingredients in yourself. So let's go ahead and get this started. Hello, Colleen. Hey, Larry. Thanks for joining. So let's start by adding in our cornbread mix. So I'm basically just going to follow the instructions on this package. And so what we're going to do is place the cornbread mix in a large bowl, and we're going to add 1.5 cups of milk, 2 eggs, and either half of a cup of melted butter or vegetable oil. I will say I always go light on the oil. Half of a cup of oil and butter is a lot. I usually cut that in half, so I'm going to do 1/4 cup, and it comes out fine every time. Also, real quick, I'll do this while I'm pouring stuff in. One thing that I learned from Colleen, actually, in cornbread is to add some either fresh corn or canned creamed corn into the cornbread mix. And you know what? I'm really sorry that I didn't put that in the ingredients list. I kind of want to do it tonight, but because I have people cooking with me, I'm going to stick to the ingredients. So again, we're going to do 1.5 cups of milk. I'm going to grab my milk out of the fridge. And I guess I should get 2 eggs too. 2 eggs. So, Jean, I don't know what the temperature is where you guys are, but it's been a little on the chilly side here in Illinois. It was nice today. It got into maybe this, no, I think it was just in the 50s today. But earlier this week, we had like lows of 40s, and it was kind of rainy and windy. So, perfect chilly weather, if you ask me. All right, 1.5 cups of milk. And we're gonna do 2 eggs. We get our eggs from a neighbor friend here, and they always come in different colors. I love that. Got a little green one here. 2 eggs. Excuse me. Give my hands a quick rinse here. And we'll do 1/4 cup of oil, vegetable oil. You could do olive oil. A neighbor gave us this tea oil, tea seed oil. Has anybody ever heard of this or seen this before? I had never heard of it, but apparently it's got a very high smoke point, more so than like your olive oil, and I believe your canola or your vegetable oil, which is important because if your oil has a low smoke point, that means it's going to burn when the heat is not very high. And you don't want to burn your oil. 1, it's going to taste really bad. And 2, you create a process called oxidation, which is not very good for your body. It can actually increase inflammation in the body if you eat oxidized oils. So this tea seed oil is something that I'm going to throw in here. About 1/4 cup here. And I don't have a 1/4 cup marker on this, but I am going to just kind of estimate. Hey, Diane. How lucky. I forgot, but accidentally found you. Chilly. It was miserable a few days ago. Today I went to Tanner's. Oh, you went to Tanner's. Packed, but always fun. Heard about Tanner's just yesterday. Always hearing about Tanner's. We're going to go. I know they close up shop, what, sometime in November, is it? So we've got to make sure we go before that happens. All right, so we're going to go ahead and mix this all together. We're going to put it in a baking pan and then pop it in the oven. Again, if you are cooking with me, make sure your oven is set to 375. You want to preheat that sucker before you throw your food in. It'll help to evenly distribute the heat so that everything cooks fully. Jean, yes, the weather has turned here as well. I think it was rainy and gloomy today, so perfect for chili. Oh, good. Good, good, good. You know, I have a friend in Greenville, South Carolina, who is slightly jealous of our 40-degree weather last week because it was still 80 degrees in South Carolina. So they haven't quite felt fall yet in South Carolina. So maybe chili and cornbread is not on the menu for them tonight. So one thing that I wanted to talk about tonight is soluble fiber, because beans are a great source of soluble fiber, and we're going to be throwing them in our chili tonight. So once we get going with the chili, I'm going to talk a little bit about soluble fiber and how it can help you naturally reduce cholesterol levels in your body, which is super cool. Okay, this looks good. I'm going to go over to the stove and pour mine into a pan here. I am going to spray this. I don't want my cornbread sticking to the pan, so you might want to use either some more oil or if you have some kind of olive oil or canola oil spray, just give that pan a light spray. I also like to use a rubber spatula to get every little bit off that I can. No cornbread left behind. All right. Scoop this in. Looks like I have some little bit of flour at the bottom that didn't quite get mixed in. If you see that, just try to mix it in real quick. No big deal. So what do you guys like to put on your cornbread? Any crazy cornbread toppings, or even in your cornbread? I mentioned earlier, here we like to put either fresh or creamed corn, actual corn pieces in the cornbread. It's so good. Maybe like jalapenos, cheddar. Anybody else like to put anything in particular in their cornbread? Once you get it all in and evenly spread into your baking dish, go ahead and pop it in the oven. Looks good. Colleen says she loves honey butter. Oh, yes. So David's place where he works had a, what was it? It wasn't a chili cook-off, but it was like a, oh gosh, I'm going to totally botch this story now. Anyway, he brought a bunch of cornbread to the potluck that they had, and he made honey butter to go along with it, and it was so good. Cut open a piece of warm cornbread, spread some honey butter on top, and it is delicious. So good. Yes, Diane loves cornbread. Who doesn't love cornbread? Cornbread's delicious. Butter. Creamed corn, it too. Sometimes cheese and or jalapenos. Totally agree with all of the above. Those are all great additions. What about bacon? I think I've seen like bacon and jalapenos in cornbread before. I've never had it, I've never made it before. But you know, people like their chili the way they like their chili. They like their cornbread the way they like their cornbread. Jean, my father and I always disagree about whether cornbread should be sweet. Yes, common argument. I like it sweet, but my dad is very old school Southern and hates the sweet kind. Yes, I totally understand that. My aunt doesn't live in the South, but she lives in Pennsylvania, kind of like rural country, and she will only make cornbread in a cast iron skillet, and it is never sweet. So I never grew up with sweet cornbread. I've had it before in the South, and I like it. It's good. It's tasty. But I'm just used to the unsweet variety that my aunt used to always make. So that's another one. Sweet or unsweet cornbread? Okay. Yeah. Cornbread should never be sweet, but then put honey on it, which makes it sweet. Such a delicious combination. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the chili started now at this point. What we're gonna do is dice up our vegetables. So we have our onion, our carrot, and our poblano peppers. So if you've never had poblano peppers before, they have a little bit of a smoky flavor. So they're gonna give this chili a nice smoky flavor. They're typically not spicy, but sometimes they can be. So what I recommend real quick before you even get started is to just chop off a little piece and taste it just to make sure. Because if it is really spicy, you're not going to use all three. Yeah, these aren't spicy. But if you taste them, they don't quite taste like a bell pepper. They have a little bit different of a flavor to them. And when you actually cook them, that flavor comes out even more. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll chop up. We're going to start by either dicing or small chopping this onion here. So we're going to do a small onion. Let's go ahead and get that papery skin off of the outside. So I just cut my onion. I cut both ends off my onion, cut it in half. Now we're just going to peel that papery skin off. I always find that the papery skin of yellow onions is a lot more delicate and more difficult to actually peel off of the onion. I don't know why that is, but like the red onion and the white onion, I don't really have that problem. Anybody else notice that? Diane, I have a friend who makes, oh, venison chili. Oh, that's good. I don't eat venison often, but when I do, it's someone who has caught it, which I guess makes sense. Do they sell venison like at the store or at the butcher? Do they sell venison around here? I feel like anytime that I've had it, it's been someone who's actually hunted for it. I don't know that I've ever seen it in the store, but I might not just be seeing it. Diane is saying roast the peppers. Roasting the peppers will absolutely bring out even more of that flavor. We're not going to roast them tonight though, just because we're trying to keep things relatively quick in the kitchen. But it's a really good tip to do. If you've got a little extra time, roasting those peppers will really give you some extra flavor. Diane is also envious of my super sharp knife. It is very sharp. It's also a very good knife. Actually, one of the clients that I worked with bought me this knife as a parting gift. It's very nice of her. I love it so much. It's very light, it's easy, and it's nice to hold. All right, so let's chop these onions here. You could use any onion for this. It doesn't have to be the yellow onion. I like the flavor of the yellow onion in chili. It does have a tiny bit of sweetness to it. So for the meat, because we are using some meat tonight, I have a lean ground beef here that I'm using. You could use anything else. You could use venison if you have it. You could use turkey. You could use chicken, although I feel like the chicken might be a little dry. I might not use chicken. You could use bison. That would be really nice. So once you get your onion chopped up, let's go ahead and get our pan heated up. Sarah, yes. Make sure you don't cut your thumb off. Stay away from that garlic. Oh my. Sarah chopped her finger off when we were in Costa Rica over the summer. So she is now Cook With Me TV's official safety spokesperson. So we're gonna heat up this pan here, and I'm gonna drizzle a little bit of oil in there. Actually, you know what? I changed my mind. I'm not going to. My beef is 85-15%, so there's still gonna be some fat in here. What we're gonna do is just put the meat in our pan and start browning it, and we're gonna cook it until it's just about done. We're gonna take it out, and then we'll saute the vegetables in that. So go ahead and do that part with me. Go ahead and preheat or heat your pan here. I can't open these things. I always have trouble opening them. Probably because my hands are wet. And we'll go ahead and get that meat in there and just start the cooking process. We'll break it up a little bit. Increase the surface area of the meat so we can start the cooking process a little bit faster. And you want to put your pan on about a medium heat. We don't want to do it too high. We don't want to burn the meat. Just want to brown it slowly. All right, and then while that is starting to cook, we can go ahead and chop up our carrots. I'm gonna give my hands a quick rinse. You probably should too if you cut any or touched any raw meat. Don't want to spread any of those germs around. Diane, my advice to newlyweds, buy the most expensive knives and pots and pans and the largest fridge you can afford. Or even better, put all those things on your registry, right? David and I actually didn't do that because we had been living together for a while before we got married, and we had kind of already accrued everything that we needed, so we didn't do that registry. But if we were like new to living together, totally would have done that. Hey Kim, good to see you. Thanks for joining. Okay, so we've got our onions chopped up. While that meat's cooking, let's go ahead and get these carrots chopped. I'm just going to slice off the ends, the root ends there. And then what we're going to do is try to cut them about the same size as the onion. So what I like to do for this, if you have a pretty long carrot, is to cut it in half lengthwise and then cut each of these pieces into quarters. So we'll cut that guy down the middle. We'll flip them over on their flat side and then cut them down the middle again. And then we'll turn them and run our knife through them for a nice small chop. And Kiki is sitting right here below me because she saw that the carrots come out of the fridge and she wants one. And we'll just go ahead and do that with each of these carrot pieces. You don't have to cut it that way. That's just one of the ways that I like to try to get it the same size as the onion. You can cut it any way that you want. More than one way to skin a cat, right? All right, and while I'm chopping up this second carrot, I wanted to quickly talk about the soluble fiber. So you saw that the class topic tonight is soluble fiber, and it can help you naturally lower your cholesterol levels. So even if you're somebody who doesn't have high cholesterol, it's a good preventative measure. If you do have high cholesterol and it's related to diet and lifestyle, then including some of these foods on a daily basis can actually help you reduce cholesterol levels in your blood. You can come off of a statin if you do this on a daily basis. Now, if you've got a genetic type of high cholesterol, like familial high cholesterol, this may not work, but every little bit is worth a try. You could still potentially lower that number by a couple of points. So it's always worth a try, and you're always going to get some additional nutrition and health benefits out of eating these foods anyway. So beans, we're using lots of beans today in our chili. Oats, so including oatmeal, having oatmeal every morning might be something that you can do. While I'm talking, just so you know, I'm going to stir the beef. So if you're cooking with me, I know you can't see me doing this right now, but go ahead and check on your beef to make sure that you're not burning it. So then some other sources of your soluble fiber are going to be flax seeds. I feel like flax seeds are super popular. They're so hot right now. But yes, they are excellent sources of fiber, specifically soluble fiber, the kind that can help lower cholesterol. The thing with flax seeds, though, is that you need to grind them up. If you eat them whole, your digestive system can't break open that outer shell, so you're not going to reap the benefits of getting all of that nutrition out of the seed. You're just going to pass it through undigested, and you're not going to get anything out of it. So make sure that it's ground. You can buy ground at the store, or if you've got whole seeds already at home, or if you buy them at the store, you can grind them up with a coffee grinder, or you could use a mortar and pestle just to break them open. But it really drives me crazy when I see whole flax seeds in like cereal and crackers, and companies are trying to market that, saying that, oh, this product has flax and lots of omega-3s and fiber and all this good stuff. And it's like, well, actually it doesn't, because it's a whole seed and my body can't break down the whole seed. Hey, Shelly. Good to see you. Pears are another excellent source of soluble fiber. Apples are up there too, but pears are higher. Berries as well, excellent sources. And then a lot of your cruciferous vegetables. So if you remember, cruciferous vegetables are going to be things like broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts. All of those things are going to be great sources of soluble fiber. Also included are onions and asparagus, very rich sources of soluble fiber. So if you can figure out a way to add in these foods or some of these foods on a regular basis, meaning every day, you can greatly increase your soluble fiber intake and work to reduce cholesterol in your body. The research shows that you would need at least 10 grams of soluble fiber a day. And just to give you an idea of how many grams are in each of these, it's really only like 1 to 3 grams of soluble fiber per serving of these foods. So that being said, you would really need to eat a pretty good handful of these foods, right? You would want to do oats and flax seeds every day, berries or pears, some kind of vegetables, and then maybe some beans too as well. So I recommend starting small, right? Pick one of those foods. If you're not eating any of those foods, just start with one. Maybe it's the oats or maybe it's the flaxseed. You know, ask yourself, how can I include oats or flax seeds in my life every single day? Oatmeal is always kind of like a 2-for-1. You can do so many things with oatmeal and you can get so many of these foods in, right? You could do a serving of oats topped with your flax seeds, topped with pears or berries, and that would account for roughly 4 to 5 grams of soluble fiber in that one meal. So trying to get creative and pairing those things together can really help you meet your fiber needs. Hey Miriam, good to see you. Thanks for joining. We are just cooking up some chili and cornbread. Okay, so we've got our onions and our carrots. Let's go ahead and do our poblano peppers. So I want to cut these in slightly bigger chunks, more like bite-sized pieces. You can do it however you want, but what I'm going to do is just slice off the top here and just pop out the stem. And what I do here is just twist the seed pod out and get those seeds out. There might be some still left in there, so if you just tap the pepper on your hand, you can get rid of the seeds that way, or bang them on your cutting board, however you want to do it. Again, these peppers are not spicy. They offer more of a smoky flavor. All right, and I'm just going to come through and do about 1/2 inch thick pieces. I'm going to do them about like that. They are going to cook down a little bit. Peppers have a lot of water in them. So once you cook them and that water is released, they do reduce in size. Does everybody like poblano peppers? Have you ever had them before? Diane, I have to give credit where it's due. I am eating healthier since meeting you. Oh, that makes me so happy, Diane. Thank you for sharing that. That's what this is for. The more that we can expose ourselves to things like this, the greater the chances are that we're going to start eating healthier. So I'm really glad that this is doing what it's intended to do. All right, I'm gonna go check on the chili. I can see, the beef over there. Something is smoking over there. Oh yeah, this is looking good. So again, we're just gonna keep breaking up the ground beef until we see that there's no more pink left. We really do want to cook this. If you have a tiny bit of pink, it's okay because we're going to throw this back in to everything and then cook everything else together. So actually, now that I'm saying that out loud, it's probably better if you see a little bit of pink, you can go ahead and pull it. Because if we cook it until it's done now, we may overcook it when we throw it back in with everything else. So at least we buy ourselves some extra time once we throw that in. Okay, so then go ahead and grab a bowl or a plate and just get this beef out onto that plate or bowl, and we'll set it aside. I'm gonna use something bigger to get all of this stuff out. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna leave the juices in there, and we're gonna use that to saute our onions and carrots and peppers, and that will start the chili party. Hi, Lisa. How are you? What is going on? Okay, so we'll leave the pan on. We'll go ahead and throw those veggies in. I'm gonna go ahead and just throw in what I've chopped up. If you haven't chopped up your pepper all the way, that's okay. We can come back and chop everything else up. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of salt in here. Get things going. Just a pinch. I'm going to turn the heat up just a touch. Whenever you add something new to the pan that's uncooked, it does bring down the temperature of everything else in the pan. So I just like to speed things up a little bit. Turn the heat up. Just remember that you did that so that you don't burn it. Hey, Mary. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. We are cooking up a nice pot of chocolate poblano chili. I did see Sarah said something about this weekend I juiced and then made your pulp bread and threw in a lot of ground flax, some oats, ooh, and chocolate. Oh, that sounds so good. Look at that. That's an excellent way to get your flax and your oats in, right? So if you're making a bread recipe, oats are always a good thing to throw in there. And then flaxseed as well. You don't taste it. It adds so many wonderful things in addition to the soluble fiber. Omega-3s for one, which is excellent. Does add a little bit of protein. I know Sarah's all about the seeds. Anytime she makes us something, like you used to make us a lot of granola when we lived in Charleston, and it would be very seedy. There would be like pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, flax seeds, chia seeds, all the seeds. And I loved it so much. Okay, let's finish chopping up these peppers here, and we'll get those in the pan. I have seeds going everywhere. I'm normally not this messy with the seeds, but I don't really care tonight, I guess. Michelle, I'm so thankful for you. You're the one that helped me be free from what was controlling my life. I'm forever thankful that you showed me how to eat food and live happy. Thanks for that, Michelle. I appreciate that. That's really nice. Yes, I think there's a lot of people who may have been in Michelle's situation where you kind of feel like food, you obsess over food and it's all you think about because you're trying to eat healthy and you want to make sure you're doing it right, but there's so much conflicting information out there. It's like, what am I supposed to believe? When in fact, it's actually quite very simple. So just really trying to take a step back and yes. Very, very good. All right, I'm going to chop these guys up the same. Jean and Drew, you guys are probably way ahead of me at this point because I've been talking a lot. So if you're done with throwing your peppers in there, you can go ahead and chop up your garlic because we are going to want to open up 5 cloves of garlic, chop that up, throw it in the pan. And then with the garlic, we're also going to throw in some spices. So we're going to do chili powder and cumin. If you like spice and you want this chili to be spicy, go ahead and add in whatever you want to do for that. Red chili flake, cayenne pepper, or if you have special seasonings, special chili seasonings that you really like, you can go ahead and add those in too. Again, just being flexible with the recipe. Ooh, yum. Okay, I'm gonna get my garlic out. Hey, Edie. Simple but not easy, right? Right. I know. I think we all talk a lot about how easy healthy eating can be, but really you do have to think about a lot of things. I mean, you have to do some planning. Being prepared is half the battle, right? If you don't have healthy foods at home, if you didn't go grocery shopping, you don't have the healthy foods at home, then you're not going to be able to actually cook healthy at home or eat healthy. So it does take a little bit of planning and preparation and forethought. Okay, I think you can hear me now. It wouldn't be Cook With Me TV unless we lost sound, right? Sorry, y'all. Hey, Shelly, good to see you. We are cooking up, yes, to answer your question, Diane, a pot of chili for a small army. And that small army is us here at home, all 4 of us. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, I'm sure Jean and Drew are like, okay, Ashley, come on. What's next? If you have your garlic in the pot already, go ahead and add in your spices. Like I said, cook those just for a couple minutes and then go ahead and add in the liquid. So tonight we're gonna be using beef bone broth or any kind of stock that you have on hand, as well as 1 can of crushed tomatoes. And then we'll also add in our 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. Okay, I'm gonna add this garlic in. I think I'm gonna try to have to catch up with Drew and Jean at the moment. Oh, that garlic, it smells so good. Yay! Thanks, everyone. Oh, no speed is good. Last time was too fast. Okay, good. It's good to know. Garlic. Okay, now I'm gonna get my spices in here, my cumin and my chili powder. How's everyone's spice cabinet situation? Are you one of those like crazy organized people who like categorizes spices in alphabetical order? Or do you not do any of that and so it takes you forever to find a single spice? I feel like there is a method that we've had here, but I don't know. Okay. Oh, chili powder. Oh, this smells so good. Penzies. We love Penzies spices. Anybody else? What am I looking for? Oh yeah, cumin. Cumin. Oh, that chili powder smells so good. It's not chili without the spices. And what I do is usually start with about a tablespoon of each and then leave my spices out so I can add a little bit more after I taste it. Because of course you gotta do a taste test. This cumin has taken forever to come out of its little package. No, I'm putting the spices in right now, Jean. Diane, wait, what? Cocoa powder? Yes, we're adding a little bit of cocoa powder in here to give it like a, if you're familiar, are you familiar with Mexican chocolate? Wait, is it Mexican chocolate? Yes, Mexican chocolate, which is sort of like chocolate milk but spicy. This kind of reminds me of that. So it's kind of like a chili, but there's a little bit more of a deeper flavor in there with the chocolate. So we're just adding a little bit. It's not gonna be super chocolatey and sweet. It's not gonna be like that. It's used more as a savory flavor. It's gonna be good. Diana's saying, I have a gazillion spices. Try to keep organized. It never works. Plus, I might have some really old spices. My bad. I think we're all in that same boat. Yeah, it is good to go through that spice cabinet every now and then and kind of check out what might be time to go. Okay. Oh, it smells so good. Wonderful. Okay, so at this point, we're gonna go ahead and throw in everything else. So let's do the cocoa powder, the stock, the tomatoes. We're gonna throw the beans in there. We're gonna throw the meat back in. Colleen, if you're still watching, where's the cocoa powder? I should have gotten this stuff out earlier, but I didn't. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and add in the tomatoes and the bone broth. So 1 can, 128-ounce can of tomatoes. Got some beef bone broth here. You could do like chicken, excuse me, chicken if you wanted to, but I'm trying to keep it we're using ground beef, so we're just matching that flavor with our stock. I'm gonna do 32 ounces of this. If you want your chili a little bit more on the liquid side, after you've added everything, you could go ahead and just add some water and additional seasonings. Or you could add extra beef stock if you have it on hand. Wonderful. Okay, we're gonna add the meat back in. For the beans, go ahead and open them up and drain them. I'm gonna do that as well. And for the beans, I've got 2 cans of black beans and 1 can of Great Northern beans or any other kind of white bean that you have. Again, these are just my 2 favorite beans, which is why I'm using them. You can use any bean that you like. Pinto bean, kidney bean. Does anybody have a favorite bean for chili? I'm gonna drain and rinse these bad boys. Get any excess sodium or extra preservatives off of them. I'm just gonna pour them all into 1 colander and rinse them that way. Woo! Lots of beans. So there's one thing that drives me crazy about chili, and if it's like an all meat chili with like a bean here and there, I can't do it. It's just like eating a bunch of meat, and it's just not enjoyable to me. I feel like chili should have a nice balance. I feel like that should be actually switched. It should be like more beans with a little bit of meat in it. We're also gonna up the veggies in this by serving it over a bed of kale. And I know that sounds strange, but that residual heat from the chili will actually help to wilt and kind of cook the kale a little bit. And so we're adding in a green vegetable. We're making it a little bit lighter of a meal when, you know, chili can be pretty heavy. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and add these beans in. Yuck, it's dark. I know, it's already dark. It's only 7:20. How is it already 7:20? Wow. Okay, well, it's okay. All right, beans in. I gotta get that cocoa powder. And I apologize, I did not get it out before the class tonight, so I may have to be climbing in my cabinet. Yes, the kale thing, brilliant. I'm so glad someone agrees. Ooh, yum. This looks so good. Okay, so we're gonna we can put a lid on this, increase the heat a little bit if you want to. We're gonna bring this up to a simmer. Let's also check on our cornbread. Cornbread should take about 25 minutes. So let's just check on it, make sure it's not burning. Ooh, it looks good. Mine's getting a little brown on top, like a little golden. So what I'm gonna do is just quickly stick a fork in the center and see if it's still wet on the inside. If it's not, I'm gonna call it done. So you should probably do the same thing if you guys got yours in at the same time that I did. Ooh, yum. Yum. Let's see. Yes, this is done. I'm taking this out, leaving it out. I'm going to turn my oven off. And we'll let that cool down. Okay. Cocoa powder. Let's see. Aha. Found it. So you want to make sure that you're using an unsweetened cocoa powder in this. It's the same thing as baking cocoa. So we're going to do, like I said, 1/4 cup. Oh, chili, it just looks so good. It smells delicious. I'll get my measuring spoon out. How are you guys doing, Jean and Drew? So the other thing I said, if you're tuned in a little bit later, kind of like on this on this chocolate ingredient train, coffee is another great flavor to add into chili, just to deepen the flavor. We like doing that too. Ooh, yum. So remember, if you're using, especially if you're using low sodium canned products, or, we've rinsed a lot of the sodium off of our beans. We've only added salt once to this so far, and that was when we started sauteing the onions, the carrots, and the peppers. So if you taste it and you feel like something's missing, add another pinch or two of salt. This is a large volume meal. That pinch or two of salt is going to go a long way, and it's not like you're going to be ingesting all of those pinches of salt. So I recommend just doing, tasting things as you go. Add a tiny bit of salt to begin with in the beginning, because you can always add more at the end. And so having said that, I'm going to go ahead and taste this. Ooh, that's tasty. That's good. I taste the chocolate in there, but it's not like sweet. Oh, it's so good. I am going to add a pinch of salt in here. I do feel like it needs a little something. And I think I'm going to add a little bit more cumin. I can taste the chili powder. And again, chili powder is not spicy. It's more of like a smoky flavor. I do want some more of this cumin flavor to come through though. I'm going to add a little more cumin. Any special spices that you guys like to add to your chili? All right, let's cover this. Let that come up to a simmer. Yes, I've had the coffee ingredient, but never cocoa. How much coffee would you add? So for this large pot, for the amount of ingredients that we're using, excuse me, tonight, I would say what I normally do is actually use an instant coffee, and it's normally just a tablespoon of instant coffee. If you do brewed coffee, I would start with just half of a cup of brewed coffee into that full pot, stir it up, let it cook for a little bit, taste it, because you don't want it to be overpowering at all. Otherwise, it'll bring too bitter of a flavor in there, and you want to avoid that. So I would say start with half of a cup of the coffee. Hey, Bob, good to see you. Good to see you. Hi there, I'm on warfarin and cannot eat dark vegetables, especially kale, because it contains too much vitamin K. What can I substitute? Well, it's because you don't want to increase your vitamin K levels too much. Any dark leafy green is really going to do that for you. So if the dose that you're at right now doesn't let you eat any additional vitamin K for your day, there are some other vegetables that you could add into the chili. Let's see, what else could you add? You could add additional carrots in there if you wanted to. Additional carrots and onion would be good. They're not going to be very high in vitamin K. You could do more peppers if you wanted to. But it's going to be kind of hard to substitute this like leafy green base that we're trying to create here. So I would say go with any other vegetables. You could even throw in like frozen vegetables, like frozen cauliflower might be good. It'd be a little bit different of a chili experience for you, but those are some other vegetables. So really any other low vitamin K vegetable would be good. Be right back. My dog wants to go out. Intermission. Intermission for Kiki. Okay. Oh, and also what Jean said. First taste is amazing. Okay, good. Awesome. So that's basically it. So what we're going to do is let everything cook until that soup comes up to a simmer, and I know that all of the meat is fully cooked through. I'm going to go ahead and start prepping a bowl so I can show you what it looks like. Because like I said, what we're going to do is add a little bit of kale into our bowl. Did you guys get whole kale, like a bunch of kale, or did you get like a bag of kale? If you got a bag of kale, pretty easy, just scoop it out, throw it in the bowl. If you got whole leaves of kale, you might want to like de-stem it because the stems of the kale are not going to cook quickly enough. So if you don't want to bite into raw kale stems, then you might want to just strip that part off of your kale and throw the leaves into your bowl. If you don't really care, then you can leave the stems off. But this kale, it's nice to have this, especially if you're going to use it to saute. It's already chopped up for you. It's already cleaned and washed for you. It's ready to go. A little bit less prep. I think anything that makes your life easier in the kitchen and allows you to eat more vegetables, why not take that shortcut? So this way, we're getting in some dark leafy greens. We're balancing out that plate so we're not just eating a ton of protein or carbohydrates. We're actually having some non-starchy vegetables in here, which are going to provide our bodies with all the vitamins and minerals that you need on a daily basis in order for your body to function optimally. We need to be eating colorful vegetables and fruits every single day. Oh, Shelly had a really good, yeah, that's great. Squash. Ooh, butternut squash would be so good. You could do like a butternut squash chocolate poblano chili. Oh, that would be so good. I love that. For Pete's sake, my dog heard go out and now he's asking. That's hilarious. You want to go out? You want to go out? I did that on purpose. You're welcome. Gee, and I always buy whole kale because they leave the stems in the bag kale. Yeah, makes me so mad. I know. You got it like I just did. You have to pick all the bits of kale leaves off of the stem. The things we do for our dogs. Okay, let's go over and see if we've come up to a simmer. Let's check out. Oh yeah. And so it's nice to keep a pot of chili kind of cooking for a couple of hours. So if this is something that you want to do earlier in the day, you're going to develop more flavor the longer that it cooks. But again, you could still enjoy it right now as it is, which is what we are going to do. So I'm just looking to make sure all this beef is cooked through. Very good. I am going to let this cook a little bit longer. I'm not going to hold you on here so that you can just watch my chili cook. But like I said, I'm going to ladle this over the kale. I will post a picture of the final product on the Facebook page so you can see what it looks like. While we're here, let's cut open this cornbread. Smells good. Ooh, yeah. Look how perfect. I couldn't make a more perfect cornbread if my life depended on it. I'm not a baker, so the mixes are just like very, very efficient for me. So this is gonna go lovely with that chili. And that's that. All right, like I said, I'll post a picture of the final product. I am gonna let my chili cook just a little bit longer before I actually dish it out. So be on the lookout for that. Jean and Drew, I hope your chili is delicious. I'm excited that we're both going to get to enjoy it tonight for dinner. If you're new to Cook With Me TV, this is a live stream cooking class. So be on the lookout for the rest of the ingredients that I post ahead of time. So you can go to the grocery store, get what you need, actually cook along with me right here on the show in your own kitchen. We talk about one nutrition tip every week. So come join me and get on the healthy eating train. Oh, wonderful. Shelly says, everything looks amazing. Ooh, I'm an awesome baker, but cooking, I'm not too great. Okay, so you're the opposite. That's okay. That is okay. Oh, good. I'm so glad, Jean. Thanks, guys, so much for cooking along with me. I hope you enjoyed the experience and that you enjoy your dinner tonight. All right. Well, it was good to see everyone on here. Have a wonderful rest of the evening, and I'll see you right here next Sunday at 6:30 p.m.